Now, it's entirely possible or even likely that you've got art that's simpler than mine. So, for example, if you just have a little bit of a drawing here and you wanted to have some super simple outline that's just a square or something like that, we could just pick the square tool. We could select cut layer as the place we want it to land, and then we could just make a drawing like that. And then that's not going to print. This would just be the line that our vinyl cutter will follow, but that is super boring, right? So the vinyl cutter can cut really, really intricate shapes, and it makes for some really nice looking stickers. So the whole purpose of kiss cutting is that you can't just cut something out with a guillotine or a pair of scissors or something like that. Now, depending on how you arrived at your shapes, you might have a little bit of work to do. So I'm going to select everything and group it so that I can see right here I just have a single group. And then I'll hit Command C for copy and then Shift Command V for paste in place, which is an oldie but goodie. Now I'm going to hide and lock one of those layers. So that'll be the one I bring back layer that's actually going to get printed. And now I have this one to mess around with. The first thing I'll do with this art, because I'm just going to reduce it to an overall outline, is I'll say Shift Command G G G G G to ungroup everything and this whole giant list springs out. I'm also going to right click and say, as far as I can tell, I don't see any clipping masks in there, which can cause problems. That looks like it still needs to get ungrouped a little bit. Okay, so let's see if we can pull this off. So I'm just going to click on a portion of this art, and then I'll head down to my Pathfinder and I'll say, let's join all these shapes together. And then I get nothing. So what's that all about? Sure there's not? So sometimes you need to click around until you hit the right spot, but I want to release any compound paths that I can find. And the compound paths have to do with using one shape inside of another that effectively cuts a hole in the outer shape. So we're just trying to get down to all of these fills. So let me see if that's going to let me. Yeah, so that's heading in the right direction, right? Now, as I zoom in, there's some little pieces here that I made for visual reasons, just these white areas, and so those I can click on and delete pretty easily. I also want to get rid of these white areas. Like, I don't know with kiss cutting, so this will be a pickle, right? I think my lightning bolts would not come along unless I went ahead and illustrated a shape out around them. So for the purpose of this sticker, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of my lightning bolts. Now, if I hit Command Y, I'll be able to see where any remaining geometry is that might throw off the process. So I'll get rid of all this extra stuff. Get out of here like this and like that. Because after all, what we're looking for is just the outline that makes this thing work. Okay. Good. So I get this outline. It looked like my little droplet was still grouped together, so I'll get rid of that little thing. Release compound path. Click on that little circle and get rid of it. Okay, so now Command Y takes me back out here, and I'll be taking this pair of graphics and moving this into the cut layer. Okay. Oh, not everything made it. I gotta move this guy as well. Okay, now if you like, because we are doing this in a pretty precise environment, you could try to make the the cut path go right along the edge of your art, but it's more likely than not that there'll be slight imperfections. So it's usually a good idea to add some sort of bleed. So I like to get in here and just give myself a little rim of maybe, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch or something like that around my artwork. So I'm going to go up to Object and Path, and then I can say Offset Path, and I want to be heading out, into positive territory. So let's make my offset like 0.1 inches, and I can preview that. And that looks good, and you can see that it actually starts to include that droplet down there, so that's going to be useful. This might be a bit of a problem, the way that those things get so close together but don't quite touch. So maybe I would make this 0.125, and I get an outset that look like that, an offset rather. Now I can select these forms and again say join shapes. And now when I make it hollow, I have something that looks like that. And then when I bring back up my artwork, it'll be contained inside, and the vinyl cutter will come around and cut that away in a way that looks super professional. if I had more time, I'd probably stick around. I mean, I could even make, this area up here, I could just do by hand, so to speak, where I could add in the bleed like that. But these are demo videos, so we're not going to get into a lot of work like that. So for my output, I may just go ahead and select those lightning bolts and just delete them for now.